You understand?
Right.
So Gus isn't high drive. He's just normal.
Right.
Ollie is below, like he's not,
Right.
he's soft, right?
Right.
And so when you start to understand that that's level of correction, right? So if I was teaching you through text or a book, or I said, this is what you do when the dog breaks a sit, and you make this, I make this big correction, you're going to look at what I did, and depending on how you feel, you're going to make that correction less or more. So if you're like, oh, I don't want to upset him, you're going to go like beep. But if you're pissed and you want to be done with it, most people are like, I fucking, that's too much.
Right.
The lesson, the level of correction is dictated by the lesson, right? So what are you trying to get the dog to learn? With Gus on the table, the level of correction is as high as it can go to get the point across. Now it's repeat, repeat, repeat. Let him fail, then repeat, then repeat. So for me, I know how it's going to end. I told you. I said he's going to stay up there. Just
right.
But then it's when we start to exert ourselves, especially men, when men they're like, get the fuck up there. That the lesson's completely different when you lose your shit.
Right.
It's completely different. But when you go over and you go, I want you to keep trying to get off the table. I want you to burst out of the crate. I want you to try to not heel. That's where you are now really shaping how the dog sees the world, because the dog is trying it. And then you're squashing the behavior. You're correcting the behavior. But when we restrain them, so if like they were in the crate and there was cheese on the floor before, everybody goes, pick up the cheese and the dogs are going to get it.
Right.
No, teach the fucking dog not to do it. So what I tell people is say my son is like 6 years old. Okay. One of my sons. And we come over your house to do some dog training and we're talking afterwards. And you see my son go over and he just takes $20 out of your fucking purse. Now you're cool. If it's B, he's going to lose a hand. But if it's you, you're cool. And what you say is, I'm going to let it slide. And you call me up and you say, hey, Chris, I want to let you know your son took $20 out of my purse while you weren't looking. And I saw it. It's just $20, but you know, how do I fix that from happening again? He has to have a consequence for it. If I just talk, there's nothing. There's no, why don't we teach the little bastard not to put his fucking hand in people's purses? Well, don't steal shit that isn't yours. There has to come a consequence for that. It has to be measured. It has to be judicial. It has to be timely. It has to be understood. But without corrections, there's no way for the dog to pull out that it did something wrong.
Right.
And if it gets to keep the $20 or the dog gets the cheese, you can say no all you want. The dog is like, I don't know what that shit means, but I get cheese. Right. I get everything I want. So when we try to use obedience, we go, sit, don't touch cheese, sit, you fucking sit. Then the dog is like, I'm just waiting for this shit to be over. And what you're doing is you're teaching the dog when you unclip the leash, they're going to go hunt for the cheese.
Right.
So now you're teaching the dog without the leash, without the e-collar, without the prong collar, without the food, you got nothing. And you're broadcasting it like fireworks on the 4th of July. And they're not stupid. They're opportunists. So when you teach lessons, they have to suck a little bit. That's level of correction. When you get emotional and you want to get the result, that's when abuse starts coming in. That's when all that frustration starts coming. You go like, you're going to fucking do it. I'm going to staple you to that table. Nope. You're attached to the result, not the lesson. So let's put it this way. You don't use obedience to correct the dog. You correct the dog while it is thinking that the behavior is beneficial. You correct it at the right level with the right timing. And then you show the dog what you don't want through correction. It's not about sit. It's not about down. It's that obedience is what's left after you teach the dog not to fucking counter surf, not to shit in your house, not to pull you on the leash. those things, people go heel, and they want the dog to do it on command. No, you teach the dog, don't fucking do it. Then you don't put a command attached to the behavior, because the behavior's gone. You tell the dog, just like happened with Ollie, where you corrected him, and he, for the first time, he went, "What are we doing?" And he was happy. And you go, "We're gonna go this way," and he's like, "Zippity doo dah, let's go."
Right.
And now the dog, that's how the dog kind of learns this behavior costs too much. The shitty behavior costs too much. When you put the e-collar on the dog, like when your dogs were fighting, that's not coming from you.
Right.
And so they don't get it. There's no relationship attached to it.
Right. Right.
And so when you start to get physical with a dog, you damn sure better know what you're doing, and you better be in control of your emotions, but you also need guidance, because